introduce our speaker, Father Brian Jordan. He comes to us, he's a Franciscan friar of the Order of Friars Minor, and he comes to us this evening from St. Camillus Church in Silver Spring. He's been a Franciscan priest for 40 years and has served in many parishes in social justice ministry and as a chaplain for labor unions, especially the building trades. He was also a college chaplain and a clergy liaison to local police departments. Father Brian has also written 2 books, and he is working on another. He's published numerous articles in magazines and journals, and he enjoys serving in the Archdiocese of Washington, D.C. Please join me in giving him a warm welcome this evening.
Thank you, my sisters and brothers. My name is Brian Jordan, Michael Jordan's brother. I'm trying to look like he has more money. Do you believe that? The Brooklyn Bridge is still for sale. I am very honored and privileged to be invited to come here and serve in this wonderful parish of the Archdiocese of Washington. And the topic will be on the founder of my order, St. Francis of Assisi, a very popular saint within the Roman Catholic Church. But I'll explain to you, there's been, bring the talk in is founder, prophet, and saint. And there's been many things about him. Founder will be the first part. You can see on number 1, in that matter, there's a lot of books written about Francis, but this particular him being a founder. Another one of you to be prophet, so I'll go into detail. And a little about the saint. St. Francis was born in Assisi, Italy, in the year 1182, October 4th at the time. And he was born into a very rich, prosperous family, the Petra Berardone. He was one of the wealthiest silk owners, the silk making industry in that area. So he was very, very rich and had a good time, and he liked to have a good time. He liked to drink wine, chase the girls and all this stuff. But at that time, all of Assisi, the middle of it, was divided into what we call city-states. City-states. And there was a lot of tension between the city-states that erupted in local wars. So St. Francis was recruited to join the army of Assisi, and they fought in battle against Perugia, which is nearby. He was captured and thrown in prison. And he spent some time really thinking about his life, all the drinking, the womanizing, all the stuff. Say, I gotta come to my senses. But his conversion was quite slow. He was released, they believe, his father had to pay a ransom, whatever it is. But St. Francis, believe it or not, if you look at it, he was one of the saints who was actually a prisoner of war. I grew up in the Vietnam War of veteran age, and there was a lot of my friends like that, people who were POWs. Some never came home, some did come home, matters like that. So there was, recently I was asked by Walt Sides, he's one of the founders of Rolling Thunder, before they changed it, and they asked me to give a prayer there at the beginning of the Rolling Thunder. Usually the big bike race, have 500,000 bikers around the world there. And they asked, well, what year is his Franciscan priest book? He said, St. Francis was a prisoner of war, and we're here for prisoner of war. So I thought that was very compelling in that matter. So he was, again, even though we released in prison, they still like to have that taste to have a good time. And then after a while, he realized there's something real more for me than just having a good time, but drinking, going after having a great time. And so we had other encounters with people and realized something else to happen. So we realized he was getting serious life, and he came upon a broken down small chapel right outside of Damiano. And he heard a voice call to him, Francis, rebuild my church. Rebuild my church. So he literally began to rebuild the broken down chapel. It wasn't in disarray. They helped to put it together. And then he realized God was asking him something more than just physically rebuild the small chapel. Because at the time of Italy, and also within Europe, there was corruption in the Catholic Church. Oh my God, corruption. Can you shocking. Gambling right here in Casablanca? Oh my God. How could this be? Well, it was. And because of his simple lifestyle, it was captivating and refreshing people again to say, there's a sense of holiness in this man. And he approached the people and began this thing, so I'm going to find a religious order that we're going to be based about the poor. And they called themselves the Friars Minor. The Friars Minor. Friar, from the Latin word, means brother, fratre, like that. A minority would be minority. Minority, that means the idea of the of the ethnic minorities we have, of peoples, of backgrounds, and the color of the skin. Be minority within the spirit. When we believe the excesses of the body and the spirit, and the idea is believe the simplicity of the world. Friars Minor. So we're one member of the order of the Friars Minor. And some people just say, what OFM means? Order of Friars Minor said, no, Order of Funny Men, or something like that. But in my case, that might be true, who knows? Then he encountered a very loving woman. And in many other ordinary circumstances, probably the woman he would have fell in love with, married, and have children. He married this wonderful, loving, who also came from an extremely wealthy family, woman named Claire. And Claire also had a radical change in her life. That she wanted to do was not just give up the wealth, but do something to serve the poor. And she founded an order called the Poor Clares. The Poor Clares. And now, there's different types of Franciscan sisters all around the world and all around the country. And St. Clare was really the founder. In fact, St. Clare was the first of the female religious orders that she herself wrote her own rule. It wasn't done by a pope, it wasn't done by a cardinal, it wasn't done by a bishop, it wasn't done by a canon lawyer. Watch out for those canon lawyers, watch out for them. It was written by herself. And that matter is, that sort of set the tone for many other women's religions, that they weren't relying on some male figure to tell women what to do. That was what there was a lot of machoism going on at that time. And it's been somewhat refined and not completely gone. But she was the first. It was very radical for someone in the 13th century that she would write her own rule. And she did. So she began with the idea of the cloister sisters. We have now the many Poor Clare monasteries around the world as we speak. So he had a spiritual relationship with St. Clare of Assisi. He also encountered someone who didn't want to join the order because he was married, but he thought he had something that he wanted to do, a radical change in his lifestyle. Brother Lucchesio. And from him, he began with the years of what we call the Third Order. The Third Order. It's a secular institute where women and men, married, single, divorced, whatever, we come together and we look at the idea of what we find in Franciscan charism. And then it continues on right now. You can see the picture down below. We have 3 secular Franciscan groups here at St. Camillus. This is one we have in the Spanish, Father Romel, to his left. We have one in English. Now we bring one in the Bangladesh. We have a large Bangladeshi community. So we have 3 secular Franciscan groups. Although they're not going to take the vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience, they want to follow the Franciscan charism. We call the secular Franciscan, we call them the SFOs. So we have 3 Franciscan families. First of all, one is the Order of family. Now, later on became the Order of the Capuchins, the Order of the Conventuals, you have the TORs. So we Franciscans, we have so many ways that we express Franciscanism. And that's a good thing. He's a very, very important person that they might have their own expression of Franciscans. And it continues, and then that's fine. We have Franciscans, all different types of Franciscan Mary, which is one of the first African-American female religious orders, and they did it better than Francis, but they experienced a lot of racism at the time of them being Harlem down south, but they endured, and they persevered. Because, oh no, we believe in religious life, and we believe in Francis, and we're going to continue. Indeed, they did. Interesting, and I'm not bragging, but just pointing out the fact, of any other saint on the Roman Catholic calendar, It's the Franciscans are only one that are truly ecumenical. They're all Lutheran Franciscans. There are Lutherans who believe in Francis, and they call them Franciscans. There are Anglican Franciscans. The Raymore Friars up in New York, they began as Anglicans, an Anglican priesthood. They went to Roman Catholicism. But you still have a lot of Anglican Franciscans in England, parts of Australia, parts of Wales, and matters like that. And that's going on there. Some Methodists thought about going up on Franciscans. They had a fight between themselves, who knows. But anyway, Francis is not just Catholics only. Something only. When I was a chaplain at St. Francis College in Brooklyn, which went at the New York Times and the story is, a lot of Muslim students were attracted to Catholic colleges because they felt that their religion was being respected. Why is that? They found out that during the Fifth Crusade, St. Francis himself went on there. His original intent was trying to convert the Muslims to be Christians. And then he met the Sultan, Sultan Ghulam. And they quoted him. The Sultan could have killed him. He comes from the rival faction of Italy. He comes like that. But Francis was a man of peace, a peaceful means. And the Sultan was impressed with that this man of simplicity and prayer and understanding truly wanted to understand it. So right from there, as we began this whole thing of we Franciscans, and I'll talk about it later on, is we designed prayers that we called Peace, Shalom, Salam. Peace we know in English, Shalom being in Hebrew, the totality of peace. For the Hebrews, Shalom is not just a peace sign going like that. It means totality of peace with ourselves and with the world. And Salam is an Arabic word for peace. So we Franciscans have been in the Holy Land. We've been asked to administer in the Holy Land since 1335. A number of you have visited the Franciscan Holy Land Commissariat over there by 14 and Shepherd Street. It has beautiful grounds, one of the most beautiful grounds with flowers in the whole Washington, D.C. area. There's wonderful talks, and they have a catering hall, a lot of parking there. And it's a beautiful church there. But they were given the custody of the Holy Land to serve there in places in Bethlehem, Nazareth, and stuff like that. But given the tension going on there right now, it's really tough to serve in the Holy Land, which I'll mention further on, but we hope there will be peace and reconciliation at time. That's St. Francis, the founder. Now, St. Francis, the prophet. Why was he attracted to other people, young people from different backgrounds, people from other countries? Oh, yeah. Because he accepted the 3 P's: poverty, penance, and prayer. Poverty is he came from a very rich background. He could have had it all for his life. He could have been a multi-millionaire, have 3 wives, 3 girlfriends, or whatever he wanted to do. He chose no. I'm going by the vow of poverty. Radical poverty. He really kept the vow of poverty. He didn't have his own bed. He slept on the floor. He ate very simply, and he meditated a lot, and expected his own followers to follow an example, which they did. Penance. Penance is we get rid of the ego. Realize it's the kenesis. The kenesis we heard from Paul's letter is the emptying of ourselves. The emptying of ourselves, our attitudes, our viewpoints, our anger, our temptations, whatever. And clear that and be at peace with God. And prayer. As much as you and I need air to breathe spiritually, physically, we need air to breathe physically, we'll also need prayer to breathe spiritually. Air physically, prayer spiritually. So Francis always had that sense of nature, of prayer and air go together, and it was very important. I mentioned the encounter with the Sultan, which is unheard of. No other saint ever had an encounter with the Sultan like he did. It wasn't, for the Jesuits. You know the difference between the Franciscans and Jesuits? Pure and simple. We're pure, they're simple. The fact of the matter is, we're not pure and they're not simple. That's no viewpoints. The Canon of the Creatures that really like to emphasize, the Canon of the Creatures is the oldest form of Italian literature known. And it really has been allowed to go out of Rome, but a number of years ago it was allowed to go out to New York City, and by St. Francis College Chaplain, It was a nearby in the Brooklyn Borough Hall, and a lot of Francisco explained the importance of the count of the creatures. And St. Francis personalized all of nature. Brother sun, sister moon, water, and all these things. We all have a event, even what we call sister death. And death is a midpoint between a life here with God on earth and a life with God in heaven. But he personalized all that, and there was the basis for Pope Francis's second encyclical Laudato Si, means in praise of, which is based on the count of the creatures, our common home. And I think that's important, says we are the first generation to be truly aware of climate change. We're also the last generation to do something about it. Climate change does exist. Much people try to deny the Holocaust. It wouldn't happen. We cannot deny climate change. It's here, and we must do something about it. Remember, I come from Brooklyn. You can tell by my southern accent. A family of 7 children there in Brooklyn. We live in a small house. My mother always emphasized, clean up after yourself. Clean up after yourself. And that parental admonition is it with me, what others is, clean up yourself. Clean up your home. That means we have to take care of our home. Much we're told, take care of your homes and your apartments, whatever you live in. We have to take care of common means the Holy Mother Earth. And the 7 responses that the Holy Father Pope Francis pointed out, and by the way, speaking of Jesuits, he was a Jesuit provincial, and to be the Archbishop of Buenos Aires, Argentina. And when it came time for him to be called Pope, he was looking at a couple of Franciscans and said, Holy Father, what name do you want to give him? Francis, after Franciscan. He was a Jesuit, but he converted to Franciscan, so thank God. You heard it from me. The importance of the 7 matters of our common home is response to the cry of the earth. The cry of the earth going on in the matter is, one is, there is people, especially the poor, they're the ones that are really suffering under climate change. We go to South Sudan, we go to other places around the Arctic, places in Asia and Africa and Latin America. The poor are suffering because of the climate change. In fact, a recent thing happened in the United States alone. Climate change here in the United States affects us so badly, it costs us $120 billion a year. Hurricanes, fires, relocations, other matters that have occurred, flooding has happened. People live in homes and in their businesses and forced to in our own country. We know about the other country, but even our own country, people are forced to get up and move. The second one I meant to be response to the cry of the poor, and the poor are hurting. The rich are getting richer, and the poor are getting much poorer, and we have a responsibility to reach out to them as sisters and brothers of the same God. Ecological economics. We find ecological economics is the issue of sustainability. Are we sustaining ourselves? Does Laurel ever have any floods after a lot of heavy rains? Do you have floods here? You do. But not in your basement. I know. My neighbor in Brooklyn, we had flooding, was okay, but now we have some real torrential stuff. People's homes are getting really much. So it's changing things. It changes how we live, how we operate. We'll continue. That's ecological economics. The Holy Father really emphasized the next one, adoption of sustainable lifestyles. That means if you have a lot of something, don't be shy to share it with someone else who doesn't have something. The matter of the haves and the have-nots. And it's a very veiled way of going on in society. The haves and have-nots. The matter is how we should share of what was going on in that matters. I remember my father says we had 2 cars in the house. It's unusual to have one car. My brother Richard and my dad. And he noticed that the neighbors on the block, that they had one car crash and we couldn't afford the insurance. And there was another one that had so my father told my brothers, listen, let's give them our car. What? We'll get you another Rubens car later on. And they did. We gave my brother's car to a firm that car crashes. Hey, we have a car, you don't have any car, you have kids going on there. That's the thing of sharing sustainability, lifestyle. Ecological education. Make this part of the curriculum, not only in high schools, not only in college, make that we have this ecological education in our St. Francis International School. You know, we have a garden in there, and it's a sustainable garden, and we ask kids from pre-K to 8th grade to take care of Holy Mother Earth. So we teach them about ecology and taking care of the wonderful understanding. Ecological spirituality. We encourage to pray. We have prayer group with it, bring in earth, bring in the flower, take some sunshine, whatever. And they said, you know, this is Holy Mother Earth, this is brother, sun, sister, moon. And we realized that we have to take care of it. We have to take care of Holy Mother Earth. It's vitally important. And the other matter is community, resiliency, and empowerment. How could we, there's a place called the Rockaways, called Breezy Point in Queens, New York. They were only flooded like that. There was a terrible fire that destroyed over 150 homes. You know, it took a while to build up, but it was resilient because all the neighbors were helping out each other. It was a primarily white community, but I think that there might have been some subtle racism. But I think they learned when they realized that African Americans came in from Southeast Queens, the middle class themselves, hanging about food and water. Sikhs. I mean, Sikhs is the people who wear the turbans. They're not Hindus, not Muslims. They're Sikhs. It's a different religion. They came out giving gift cards. Quakers came in from Pennsylvania. So the whole sense of being community resiliency and empowerment is that the people who had their money like that was destroyed, and people on the background help them out. That's the part of being the good neighbor policy. Now, look at the cross. The cross has two beams. You and I have a relationship between ourselves and Almighty God. That is the vertical bar of the cross. The best grace befalls on God. But the cross is incomplete if we fail to acknowledge that you and I have a relationship between ourselves and one another. The love of our neighbor. And the cross is incomplete if we fail to love our God and we love our neighbor, but we just love our God and not our neighbor. We have to love our God and our neighbor at the same time. That is the mystery and the challenge of the cross. Love of God, love of neighbor. God makes it very, very, very easy. We make it difficult, don't we? St. Francis the Saint. It's sort of funny. Look at this. On October 3rd, we Franciscans, we celebrate a ceremony called the Transitus. Transitus. It's a prayer ceremony, transit. It's a prayer ceremony celebrating the death of St. Francis. We have a ceremony, we share with the bread and the candles, we have someone preaching about the death of Francis. The very next day, we're celebrating the feast of St. Francis when he was born. Oy vey, make up your mind. But I kind of like it. Because what's what life is? Life on earth. Death is a passive way. And eternal life. Life, death. There's a thing when we hear it with the Mass of Christian burials, I believe it's in the second preface for the Mass of Christian burial matters, it goes a lot, I always emphasize when I have the Mass, life is changed, not ended. Life is changed, not ended. We just passed celebrating, the All Souls Day. All Souls Day is a pretty big celebration at our parish in St. Camillus. There's a big altar, and people put the pictures of their loved ones on there. It's, of all the ethnic groups. And I said to him, it says, that picture is there. None was the picture of your parents, or a picture of a man who looked like that. And he said that they're lost. I say this especially to adult children who lost their parents. I lost my father early in the year, first decorated World War II, and 5 weeks before that, I lost my brother in the transit fire. So I had to deal with sister death twice within 5 weeks, sisters and brothers. Painful. When people say, we lost our parents, I said, you didn't lose them at all. Look in the mirror, and who do you see? You see your mother and father at the same time. They cooperated in God's grace for you to be born. They gave you life. It's not just in your DNA, it's in your mind, heart, and soul. Yes, you lost the body of your parents, but the parents are living within you. And from them before them. So your parents never leave you, do they? They're always with you. To this day, my mother used to say, water is water. No, rocks are rocks. Water is water. Mothers are mothers. Unbreakable, unshakable, and they will always love you. And you're there. So we celebrate the death of St. Francis first, and then we celebrate his birthday. We can praise you, Franciscans, but it works. At least we have the autumn. Boy, these unreligious ones, they have it tough. The Jesuits, July 31st. Who's going to show up for Mass on the hot July day? Well, Dominicans, August 8th. Who's going to show up for that? You know, all these other ones. We get the cool weather at least. The patron saint of animals. St. Francis isn't just for the birds. It isn't just for the birds. For all the animals. It was based on the tradition of St. Francis with the blessing of the wolf of Jubio. Wolf of Jubio, and we see that. So St. Francis sort of, I believe he really embellishes I think the Chinese language for the word crisis. The Chinese, they don't say words, they say characters. There are two characters for the word crisis. The first character in Chinese for a crisis is that it's a threat. A crisis is a threat. Something's going to happen to you. You know, watch out. You know, be ready, be prepared, and it might be just about you scared. I prefer the second character for the word crisis. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for us to grow, to understand what's going on here. So we're not to be fear of animals, but welcome animals. So we Franciscans, we call it fowl, fin, and feather. Fowl means, you know, the animals run around, like fin means the most with the fins in the water, and the feathers, those flying up in the air. Fowl, fin, and feather, we bless them because they're creatures. All creatures are of our God, and all creatures are just only human beings. But animals, anything made by God is a creature as well. Is born and loved by Almighty God. And that's a very vitally important blessing of animals. And we have the blessing of our school children on the feast of St. Francis on October 4th. Naturally, Christians come out. We did a ceremony on Saturday. We had about 40, 50, 60 people come out with the animals. And but they couldn't bring the big animals that they were going to do in the house. So what I did is, I'm very friendly with the police, the park police. I got 2 police horses. Came out from the park police. I had them out in front of the church. And a police dog, and then someone who was in the family we had some sheep and a donkey, like that. And they put them out in and half of our kids, you know, we had about 300 kids in the school. And when I started looking at the horse, I didn't realize this is the first time children from other countries ever saw a horse. I said, oh my God, I mean, you know, the eyes of a child, you know, the sense of wonder, and like, wouldn't it be great if we have the eyes of a child? Wow, look at that horse. You can actually touch the horse. You can actually touch the donkey, something like that. Wow. They loved it. They want St. Francis every day, for God's sake. That's from the animal. One way they cut class. Put in there. Patron saint of ecology. Ecology means the study of the earth. From the Latin, logia means study, eco means earth. The study of the earth. How do we take care of Holy Mother Earth? And that's been a grappling issue for years and years. But I emphasize what I said before. We are the first generation to know about climate change. We're the last generation to do something about it. And according to the United States recent reports, we're not doing such a good job. But there's still an outside hope. In 1982, Pope John Paul II, he made St. Francis the patron saint of ecology. And so he knows about ecology and the peace understanding. The thing I'd like to conclude the talk is, and we're doing it this year, in December 24, 1223, St. Francis visited this nice town of Brescia. And it was going on there, if you might go to Assisi, because you know, it's too long to walk back there. They like to celebrate Christmas Eve here with these people. We didn't know too well. We decided, rather than having these, they didn't have the best, what do you call those, like not paper mache, it's some of the, they had these other figures that someone made, like a sculpture and put in there. He said, let's have a live, living nativity scene. So he invited a family that had a newborn child, mother and father be there. They dressed up as Jesus and Mary in a manger. They found a couple of shepherds, real shepherds in there. They had people dressed up as angels. And then they had little children hold up what they called the North Star in the background. And men dressed up as the three wise men. They had actual livestock. And they had it for hours and hours for the midnight mass. This is the first recorded reenactment of the nativity scene. I dare say many other cultures and places must have reenacted in live the Christmas scene in Bethlehem, you know, at the first Christmas. But this is the first recorded one. And this year, September 20th, the 8th anniversary, I've asked my fellow Franciscan friars, the parish staff, the parish council, why don't we do a living nativity scene too? So, if whatever you're doing between 12 noon to Sunday, because early in the morning is the fourth Sunday of Lent, but in the afternoon it's Christmas Eve. 12 noon to 4:15 over in St. Francis, we invite you all. Invite your friends, your family, invite your enemies. After that, they'll be your friends after that. Invite them too. We're going to be in front of St. Camilla's Church with live animals. We've already made a contract with a farmer from Waldorf, Maryland. We're going to buy cows, donkeys, horses, sheep are out there. We're going to have it's 4 and 12. We're going to have 9 30-minute shifts. We're going to have a Haitian family all dressed up as the Holy Family, and up like that. And we're going to have a Bengali family. We're going to have a French family, and we're going to have an Irish family, Italian family. We're going to have a Latino folks. So for 9 shifts going on, we're going to have about 100 people going in and out. And we're going to have, you know, food and drink and prayer cards out there, and prayers on. We're not just doing an historical matter of the 8th anniversary. It's a nice thing. But we friars are in the Holy Land. I'm inviting a rabbi and an imam to come there and pray with us. And I want them to speak in front of the church by a microphone of all the terrible atrocities going on. But what the Hamas did to the Israelis was absolutely horrific and inexcusable. What's going on right now with the innocent Palestinians, with the Gaza, that's inexcusable. 2 wrongs don't make a right. So we're asking spiritual leaders, a rabbi representing the Jewish faith, the imam of the Muslim faith, that we are praying for peace. That Jesus is the Prince of Peace on Christmas Eve. And St. Francis knew that because there's still war and fractions going on. And Italy says, we need Jesus, the Prince of Peace. So there'll be Franciscans, imams, like that. We'll be praying for peace. We'll pray for healing in the Holy Land. It's the Holy Land, for God's sakes. It's the Holy Land. And we need to have that living nativity scene, reenactment why the Prince of Peace came among us. The Word made flesh and dwelt among us is the Gospel of John. Well, the Word would literally be made flesh because we're going to have about 9 babies, you know, with about 9 parents and 9 families going back and run the rotations down. I mean, I'm even going to get a director from the Kennedy Center to direct this thing, to choreograph the whole thing, for God's sakes. Let it go in it. I would invite you all, around the is, that we're not there just for an historical event, which is great. We're there to pray for peace, in the matter of peace itself. Thank you very much. And I have gifts for you as well. We Franciscans aren't cheap like the Jesuits. This is just pass it around. We set it right there. The pass them right there. These are prayer cards of St. Francis. If you have any questions or comments, just raise your hands. You can tell I get a big mouth out of the microphone from here. But does anyone have any question or comment you'd like to share with us?
St. Francis died really young.
Francis died at age 44. He was born in 1882, and he died in the year 1226. What do you pass these on? Another bag. Do you have any left over? Just give them back to me. These are medals made in Assisi, Italy. Medals. Medals of St. Francis.
Oh,
Yes.
Could you speak more about the Third Order and why people get involved with that and what's involved, what that spirituality is like?
The question is about the Third Order. I'm going to rephrase this. No, we changed the name years ago called the Secular Franciscan Order. Secular Franciscan. The Third Order sounds like you're third rate. You're third best. I mean, and that's to put down the lay people. The future of the church is the Holy Father Pope Francis with the Synod, the Sun Synod. The future of the Catholic Church is lay leadership. It's lay leadership. The clergy numbers are going down. Sometimes going down. Well, we're not going to disappear. We're still be around. But who's going to be holding the court of the church going on there? Thank you. The church, we are the church. It's not just the building. It's built for church here at St. Mary's. It's built for church. But the word ecclesia means community. We the people are the church. We are the church. And we're going to make it accountable. And so we're asking all of you as you participate, the purpose of the Second Franciscan Order is to invite those who are married, or single, divorced, whatever, but they have a great love for Francis and they want to have more of a formal institutional connection. And this was done by Blessed Lucasio, who knew St. Francis, and they were sort of very loose ties. And then around the 16th, 17th century, we began what they called the Third Order. But you had prayers, so you had a spiritual director. It came together. Thank you so much. And put it this way. You got something put right here. But I think that's okay. Secular Franciscans. Right there.
Okay.
Secular Franciscans is there to understand and will bear witness to the Franciscan terrors as a layperson. But you still have a title. You're known as OFS, Order of the Secular Franciscans. OSF, Order of the Secular Franciscans. You have a title, and you have those initials right into your name. If you take, we call promises, not vows, but promises. And more information, we have 3 Second Francisco, English, Spanish, and Bangor and St. Camillus. You're most welcome to contact if you have any interest on there. And they meet once a month, and it's not just prayer, they do works of charity and justice. They help out in a food pantry. They help out with maybe being catechist. But we're not the only one. The Augustinians have a lay institute. The Dominicans have a lay institute. And most of the major orders of lay institutes for women and men. It's not just a men-only club, it's not just a women-only club. Men and women from all backgrounds, different ages around there. But it's there, it's prayer, it's commitment, and they're doing acts of charity and acts of justice. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
What attracted you?
The judge gave me 2 choices. Reform school or the seminary. I should have went to reform school. Now, I'll tell you the truth. When I was in Santa College, Franciscan College, I was studying to become a lawyer. In fact, I already took the LSAT and then go to Albany Law School. And then I met this salt and pepper Franciscan walking across the campus. He says, "Young man, what are you doing for the rest of your life?" "Oh, Father, I'm thinking about becoming a lawyer." He said, "Don't become a lawyer. Become a Franciscan priest. Join the order." I said, "Father, I'm not worthy. I can't do that. I'm not up to speed on that type of worthy vocation." He give me 3 good reasons why you can't join the Franciscans. And, well, I drink beer, I get into fights, and sometimes I look at women. He said, regulate the first 2, the other one has to go. Get out of here. That priest is Father Michael Judge. He was the Franciscan firefighter chaplain at the World Trade Center. He was the first one to be killed. That's certificate number 1. He was a man for all good seasons, for all good reasons. Wonderful, wonderful man. But he was the first one maybe to push me towards it. Another friend. The one who really pushed me over the starting line was a Franciscan priest named Father Richard O'Connor. Another Irishman. His father was Irish. His mother was Swiss German. He grew up the late 1930s, he was asked by the friars, because he was very smart in philosophy, to go to Bonn, Germany, and get a doctorate in philosophy to go back to Siena College to teach. When there was the outbreak, it was the Putsch, it was the outbreak of World War II. Nazis are, they're just taking over, they are showing cruelty towards Jews and other people, especially people with disabilities. And he was told by his superior, this isn't going to get back here, you're being recalled for study. And when World War II broke out, he said, I can't do this. The anti-imperialists have a sense of Germany, put forward German, I want to be a chaplain. We got permission, he went to the Harvard University, had a training school for chaplains, and they sent him out going there. He served under General George Patton in the Third Army. He was there to battle Bulge. Remember that scene with General Patton was yelling at the priest? We believe it was Father O'Connor. Hey, pray for good weather. Pray for good weather. When World War II ended, he was about to go to General Patton asked him to be the Catholic chaplain at the first Nuremberg trial. This is for the 21 Nazi architects of the Holocaust who killed 6 million Jews and many others. And we said, I can trust you. They asked me to get the Catholic, most of these guys are Lutheran, we have a Lutheran chaplain, you're going to be the lone Catholic chaplain. And he did. He was there from October 1945 until 1946. And he heard the confessions of all those men, the 12 men who were executed, hung in the gymnasium in Nuremberg. And he witnessed with the Lutheran chaplain. And as a good priest, he kept his mouth shut. He was asked many times when he heard his story, he kept his mouth shut, can't say, no confession, no confession. When I was ordained, I had I think I was 40 years ago I was ordained. In fact, I was ordained in St. Camilla's Church 40 years ago. And we just took over 40 years ago. It was a coincidence. I was in St. Francis Church in 31st Manhattan. I heard my first shipment confession, and I heard my first murder case. And I'm not breaking the seal, but what the Father O'Connor happened to be visiting, and I could go to the theaters and the museums in New York. And see what by this thing, I gotta tell you, I went to the side. I had my first confession, I did this and this, like that. He always called me Jordan, never called me Brian. He said, Jordan, you absolve them of their sins, not of their actions. You absolve them of their sins, not of their actions. The simple as you absolve, but the accident, that horrific thing when he heard about the Holocaust, the extermination, intentional brutality, the Jews and other things like that, did not absolve. The same term was used by the priest who heard he was in the Oklahoma City bombing. Timothy McVeigh, he went to confession before he was executed. And a lot of people got mad at the priest. How dare you do it? And he said the same thing. I absolved him of his sin, not of his action. So it was Father O'Connor that really pushed me there because he was living his faith in such a remarkable way. Any other questions? Don't be shy like me.
Okay, so on that, so what does that mean so you pardon somebody from their sin, but then they can still be meted out punishment for the actions? I mean, is that...
Well, so the thing is, they went to confession for that sin. But that brutality of that action, I can absolve the sin. I can't absolve what he did. And on Judgment Day, all of us have to make a count ourselves on Judgment Day. Whether we did well, what we didn't do well. And some of the intentional, and the diabolical things, I can't be God, I can't be Jesus. I can only act as a member of the faith. I'm a baptized member of the community. I'm not God, I'm not Jesus. But God and Jesus are going to make that choice when these people go. Yes?
You spoke about the environment. Give me specifically what you're talking about, how we can...
Recycling. recycle, 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 and recycle. And tell your family members, since I got that parental admonition as a child from my mother, clean up after yourself. Clean up after yourself. You know, as a family member, you can influence other people. Hey, we gotta take care of our earth. We can't just go stuffing it and things like that, because that is a public act. That affects not you. Who's gonna pick that up? Who's gonna think is gonna pick that up? You think I'm gonna pick that up? You're gonna pick that up. We have to take personal responsibility in the public square. Personal responsibility in the public square. It's a civic action as well as a sacred action. Civic action as well as a sacred action. We have to take care of Holy Mother Earth. I mean, don't you enjoy walking on the beach? I love it. How about being on the beach when everything's all messed up and the water's dirty and the beach is uninhabitable? How about look at the sky? You want to smell the fresh air. I get friends in California. They can't even breathe. We got to take care of this country. And the world's getting hotter and hotter every year. Every year, it's getting hotter and hotter. Look at the other day, we had 80-degree weather. Who gets 80-degree weather in November? Get out of here. We got to take care of the earth. The ozone belt is fading away. What's the ozone belt? What's that protective screen from the sun? My father got skin cancer when he served 3 years in the South Pacific. No one knew what that like that, anything like that. But later on in the 70s, 80s, he paid the price, for that. And that's because, it was unintentional. It's getting worse. The ozone belt is disappearing. And once that happens, sunglasses, wearing a hat, like that, put on the much sunscreen you want, it won't be sufficient. We gotta take care of Holy Mother Earth the best we can. And you see the things like in the subway, the metro, if you see something, say something. I say, not only see something, say something, do something about it. Do something about it. Take some action. Actions speak louder than words. Do something about it. I shamed one guy in the subway 5 years ago. He threw a banana peel right to the side. It was like that. And I said, hey, you, sir, how you doing? I picked it up and I put it in the garage. Are you going to thank me? So I embarrassed the guy. Hope he didn't do it the next place he went to. Anyone else have a question or a comment?
How did he die so young?
How's it different? Well, at that time, the life expectancy was around barely 50. But at the same time, he didn't take care of himself. He didn't have medical insurance. I don't know explain that. He didn't take care of himself. He fasted a lot. He fasted a lot, and he spent hours in prayer. And he didn't get good sleep. He didn't sleep too well. And he died in the presence of Saint Clare. This book is called Platonic Love. Platonic. He said, if there's any other situation, there probably would have been mad in love and married her. But she was there for the brothers, and he died of a long course of ailments, taking care of himself, being out there, taking care of people. But I think he died on a crestful way. He's a good example. It was a way of a good, honorable death. And he showed by that. And that's what we depend on people transitus, passing from one life to another. Life is changed, not in. Life is changed, not in. But a good question. But the life expectancy was much slower at the time. I'm glad you asked that question.
This is not.
I didn't remember the comment.
Which, no, it's a question, it's stupid. Where did you say that you lived in the Chevy structure? I thought you said St. Jerome's, and my friend thought it was St. Camillus.
Thank you, Nellis.
It is St. Camillus.
Thank you, Nellis.
Why would you say St. Jerome?
Invite your friends, invite your family, invite your enemies. That is the most radical teaching Jesus ever said. It's not in Christianity. And I'm not going to use it as a finger point at any specific religion. But we Christians, and it's a very big to grapple with. I was a chaplain at 9/11. for a full year. And I'm not going to go into depth, there's some really crazy, sad things on there. And it was 19 misguided Muslims who abused their free will and abused the Quran, saying, it had nothing to do with Allah. These crazy people in that way. And one time when I had a mass on site, I was the only priest allowed to do a mass on site, I talked about love of enemies. Wow. Talking about a mother who lost her son. You had a man who lost his wife. An uncle lost his nephew. And boy, did I really touch the nerve. I touched the third rail. The third rail of I think of all anger, disillusionment, pain. I said, folks, I lost Father Michael Judge. I lost 11 friends, people from high school, college, like that. I lost someone too. You know, read that. But Jesus is asked to love our enemies. So every year when we do a prayer service on September 11th down there, I ask the same question. You look at him and says, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. Some people said, can we really forgive someone on that? But first of all, they have to be sorry for what they did. That's how we forgive them. But can you love them? That's a radical teaching. I think St. Francis tried to practice that because he never had something angry or distasteful to say about Perugia. He spent a year and a month in jail. And I've never been in jail, but to be painful and you deprive your rights and the food and stuff like that. He didn't show anger towards the people of Perugia, his captives. And that's one of his love of enemies. It's a radical, and a deeply penetrating teaching. And can we really do it? The question is, I always tell people, who is really your enemy? Who's really your enemy? Well, the Holy Land, the Jews think it's Hamas. Hamas think it's the Jewish military and President Netanyahu and other countries going on there. But sometimes, if you look in the mirror again, the enemy could be by yourself, by pride, ego, or you don't get all the facts in there. I always ask people, before you go into innuendo about this person, innuendo means you're not sure about that. Where's the evidence? Where's the proof? Where's the reason? I mean, there's a good thing I learned from my father. Trust but verify. Trust but verify. You trust a person, but verify the information. Verify the information. Is that really there? Anybody else? Don't be shy like me.
Is there a difference in the charism between the different kinds of Franciscans?
Excellent question. That's because the Lutherans and the Anglicans have a different way of living with Jesus and the papacy, no matter that. And we have the Franciscans, we have a devotion that support the Pope, no matter what. We have that viewpoint. The Capuchins retain the poor. They have a great when the Catholic College, you have here in that one state of our parish in D.C. The conventionals emphasize the academic learning. In fact, it's conventionals who run the shrine in the Assisi itself. They have like that. They also run the St. Anthony Shrine in Padua. And the academics, they have that. We all our families with the pastoral ones, we work with the poor like that. The Catholic work with the poor and the private with the poor. We do it other academic learning with missions. Because those are the three primary Franciscans. Tina Warren, we wrote a regular. It's a great question, and there are different ways that we express the Franciscan charism by various ways of ministry. Great question. Anybody else? Well, listen, thank you so much. I appreciate it. If we need more prayer cards or please take that. It's a gift. You're a gift to us, and we want to share the gift with you. And we look for the gift of life that we receive from our parents, the gift of love, the gift of understanding. And I'd like to thank Bridget for putting this together, along with other colleagues. Thank you much for inviting me. I got to go a little bit early. I want to point out, I want to put him out there, is my good friend Roy, who was a police shooter years ago. We dealt with a very sad case that happened in Laurel back in 1998, Roy, 25 years ago. So I know you're a former police chief, Roy, for 25 years. For better or for worse. It's for better, that's for sure. You did a great job, and now it's a matter of, we're talking about action charity, action justice. We did both. And Roy did a great job, and justice was served finally at the end. So thank you so much. We're about to celebrate the true American holiday next Thursday, which is Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, all Americans can celebrate, no matter who you are. Black or white, gay or straight, rich or poor, Washington National fan, Baltimore Oriole fan, you know who you are. Commander or Reagan fan, all of us can celebrate Thanksgiving. Because the word Eucharist means giving thanks. And I'm giving thanks to you for inviting me here to your wonderful church community. And may God bless you and your family this Thanksgiving and this coming up. Thank you so much, and God bless you all.